Let me know if this rings a bell for any of you people out there. This pisses me off. It really grinds my gears. Some people call, say they need this piece of glass measured. They need it replaced right quick. So hurry up and send somebody out here. We need to get this done. So they send me. I go out and I measure it. I go back to the shop. I cut the piece of glass. Call the guy to go back out there, and he don't answer his phone. Does that... It's like they said it was an emergency. We need it done right away. But then they didn't answer their phone. They still haven't answered their phone. I called at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and they still haven't answered their phone. It's 5 o'clock right now. Yeah. Some people are just insane. So I guess it's Monday, you guys. What's up? Welcome back to the channel. How the hell is your day going? I hope you're having a pretty good one. We got some stuff to get into today. So before we get into it, though, I would just like to say, if you don't mind, do me a big favor. Look down below, smash that like button. And if you haven't been to this channel before and you haven't seen my face, smash that subscribe button, because we cover political news, mostly political news, some cultural stuff, but we cover news that you're not going to hear in the mainstream, stuff that I feel is important to get out there, stuff that mostly has to do with the government. We need to know exactly what the government is doing at all times, in my opinion. But that's what we do around here. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications, because I pop out videos every single day. Usually around 7 o'clock. What's up, y'all? Let's go ahead and get right into it. Like I said, though, smash that like button for me if you don't mind. It sure would be a big help. Now, this little story we got coming up, it's a touchy subject, as you may well know. It's about abortion, but let's get into it right quick, because I'm not playing around today. Idaho asks Supreme Court to allow enforcement of abortion ban law. Yes. The bias of the news is about to be put on full display. Watch this. Idaho is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to let it enforce a near-total abortion ban while the state appeals a lower court ruling that the ban conflicts with a federal emergency care law. In an emergency application posted Monday, Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador asked the justices to overrule an injunction issued by a federal appeals court that prevents the state from prosecuting physicians who perform abortions in emergency circumstances, but for reasons other than to prevent the death of the pregnant woman. Now, I would really like to know, when is there a circumstance, if you're a medical professional out there or an expert, tell me, because I don't believe there is any circumstance where you have to abort a child to save the life of the mother. I'm not a medical expert, but it sure doesn't seem very logical to me that you would have to kill the kid to save the mother. Why not just, do a C-section, pull the baby out? Why is it an abortion? Let me know down in the comments. Idaho's Defense of Life Act is a trigger law, right? See how they put that in quotes right there. Trigger law that took effect after the Supreme Court ended the constitutional right to an abortion. I'm sorry, there's your bias right there. See, and they try to get you in there. They try to make it sound like it's always been that way. Yes, it's a constitutional right to murder your unborn children. No, I'm sorry, whoever this is from the Hill. There's never been a constitutional amendment or anything in the Bill of Rights that allows people to murder their unborn children. I'm sorry. I have very strong emotions on this subject. I was this close to being aborted. So I'm a little bit against it, as you might well see. Yeah, I don't care for abortion too much. As a matter of fact, I don't like talking about it a whole hell of a lot either, because it gets me riled up. Like I'm kind of doing right now. I'm kind of pissed off because constitutional right, my ass. Ain't never been no constitutional right, and I'm tired of people saying that. It's my body, my choice. Yeah, it was your choice when you chose to get pregnant in the first place. You should have done something about it at that point. I'm totally fine with contraceptives. If you want to take some kind of birth control, be my guest. Whatever. But once you get pregnant, once you realize you're pregnant, in other words, 4 or 6 weeks pregnant, it's too late at that point. You're murdering a life. You're taking the life of another human being. That's just how I see it, because the facts support that. I'm sorry. Like I've always said, I'm an evidence-based person, and there's your evidence. I really didn't want to dig into that story all that much, because like I said, that gets me riled up and I get kind of pissed off. Plus, I'm not a medical expert, but like I said down in the comments, let me know how you feel about abortion. Do you think it's okay to abort your kids? At what point? Where's your line? Where do you draw the line that says, no, this is a baby at this point. You can't do it. Is it 9 months? Is it 6 months? Let me know down in the comments. But as for right now, we're going to kick it back to Congress, and we'll see what in the hell's going on with Congress. GOP braces for internal battle royal over government spending. Yeah, that's right. We're about to have some shit go down in Congress. Lawmakers in both parties are predicting a GOP battle royal over federal spending at the start of the election year as Speaker Mike Johnson struggles to balance his demands from House conservatives demanding fiscal reforms with keeping the government operating. Yeah, there's a lot of problems in Washington, and there's a lot of problems with the power of the purse, Congress, if you will. We have a spending problem. They seem to think that we can just print money with no consequences whatsoever. Well, as you probably may well know, I do too, that we're seeing the consequences of printing like $5 or $6 trillion over the past couple of years for no apparent reason. Yeah, it's kicking our ass right now. The new speaker was able to prevent a shutdown earlier this month without massive repercussions to his leadership. After his predecessor, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, was unseated in part for bringing a funding measure to the floor that relied on Democratic votes, House conservatives gave Johnson a mulligan in November for basically doing the same thing. Yeah, well, he was just voted in. It was like his first week, so sure, we'll give him that one. I gave him that one. I said, that's fine, whatever. Some conservatives didn't. They were still kind of pissed off. There was a bunch of them that didn't vote for that bill, as a matter of fact, and some of them were kind of mad about it. Chip Roy, which, if you don't know, is my favorite congressman, was kind of pissed off about it. But let's keep going, y'all. 93 House Republicans voted against the funding measure, but there was no effort to end Johnson's speakership. Right, because he had just gotten put in. But Rep. Chip Roy and other conservative members of the House Freedom Caucus are signaling they won't give Johnson another free pass, even though he has limited power to get his way given the Democratic control of the White House and Senate. Right, but he can pass whatever bills he needs to and make them play ball with him. He has all the control. Johnson has the power of the purse on his side. Once again, as you saw, maybe you watched some of those congressional hearings where they were trying to make Pete Buttigieg. There was a motion for Pete Buttigieg and for Karine Jean-Pierre, both of their salaries to be cut down to $1. That's right, $1 per year. Yeah, there was motions. Of course, they didn't really go anywhere. Obviously, nobody with any common sense is going to vote for that. It's like, come on, that's kind of illogical. But it could happen if that's the power of the purse. You got to go to an extreme measure, but you can do it. You can take all the federal employees and make all of their salaries $1 a year, apparently. Yeah, that's the kind of power they have. So all this needing to negotiate with the White House and the Senate is all BS. Roy said earlier this month that Johnson's concessions to Democrats to pass a funding stopgap lasting until January and February are strike one, strike two. putting the speaker at risk of getting punched out of his job if he cuts another deal that fails to make significant cuts to federal spending. That's right. They want some federal spending because it's needed. We have to do something. We have to get these deficits under control. They need to be surpluses. How the hell can they get that many tax dollars and still spend, what is it, like $1.6 trillion more than what we have? I mean, let me know down in the comments if you can go and spend, 20% more than what you make per week or per month or per year. Can you spend that much more? No, I don't think so. Sure, you have a credit card, but one day you're going to max that credit card out, and then you're not going to be able to do that spending anymore. Well, unfortunately, our debt is $34 trillion, so we're pretty much maxed out. I mean, sure, it could keep going, but inflation's going to keep going up, and it's going to run out of control, and people are going to revolt. If this continues, people are going to get pissed, and they're eventually going to turn to violence, and we don't want that. So we need somebody in Congress that's going to change things. It's going to balance our budgets, get us back on track, fix some of our fiscal irresponsibility that we have in Congress. Of course, this also falls back on us because we vote in the people who represent us in Congress. So for all you libs out there, watch who the hell you're voting for, because it has repercussions. Oh, this goes for conservatives too. Some of these idiotic Republicans I don't like either. As a matter of fact, most politicians I don't like. I only like one or two, to be honest with you. Some of them are okay. I ain't gonna say I like them, but I don't dislike them. But there's not a single Democrat that I really like, to be honest. A GOP senator who requested anonymity to discuss the bitter fighting between mainstream and conservative Republicans over spending levels for 2024 said there's no clear path forward. I want to know what we're going to do the first day we come back from Thanksgiving break. Will there be another minibus? The lawmaker said, referring to a package of 3 or 4 bills. No, Johnson said he doesn't like all those spending packages, all that crap being put together like that. It's stupid. Single subject spending is the way to go. It is more work, but you get to cut the fat. You get a lot of BS taken out that you don't need. Johnson was forced to cancel floor votes earlier this month on 3 different spending bills because of divisions within his conference. The stakes for upcoming fight, Democrats and Republicans alike, warn, will only get bigger as 2024 election approaches. President Biden looks vulnerable, as does the Democratic majority in the Senate. Yet Johnson's majority in the House is also not safe, meaning leaders across the board will have to act very carefully. And they should. They should always act very carefully. They shouldn't be acting stupid. What do you mean by that, person? Senate Democrats say they are bracing for more brinksmanship. Realistically, we'll see more of the same. There's nothing about the December holidays that is going to produce magic in the House dynamic right now. Yeah, he's right about that. They're chaotically divided. They're dysfunctional, said Senator Richard Blumenthal. So are the Democrats. You just can't see it. The Democrats are a bunch of idiots. The basic problem is there's a group of Republicans who are more interested in throwing grenades than governing, he added. That's a recipe for disaster. No. I think I know exactly who the hell he's talking about right there. And they're not interested in throwing grenades. They're only interested in getting the government working again. This BS that's been going on with Democrats and Republicans working hand in hand and spending money like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, that's got to stop. That's got to stop. Talking shit about fiscal conservatives who want to balance the budget. Yeah, that's throwing hand grenades? Yeah. Kiss my ass. The new speaker traveled to Mar-a-Lago to meet the former President Trump shortly before Thanksgiving in an effort to shore up his support among MAGA rebels. MAGA rebels, huh? Setting the stage for a showdown with the Senate next month. Now the Senate will focus on passing a megabus or maxi bus of 9 spending bills in hopes of setting up a conference negotiation with the House. But there's little prospect of any broader deal before the new year, given the steep spending cuts demanded by House conservatives. That's right. And they're not demanded. They are needed. We have to do something now. Senate Majority Chuck Schumer, who's an idiot, by the way, says the deep cuts demanded by House Republicans don't have any chance of passing the Senate, and neither does your stupid maxi super bus, whatever bullshit, has no chance of passing in the House. Yeah, we need reform right now, and the old way of doing shit, passing these megabus spending packages, putting all this BS together that has so much fat on it it makes Rosie O'Donnell look like Jennifer Lopez. Yeah. They need to do away with that. All this pork and BS and all this, do me a favor, I'll do you a favor kind of politicking that's been going on for the past 40 or 50 years. It's got to stop. And I'll tell you, it's up to me and you to get that to stop. He and Senate Appropriations Committee Chair Patty Murray say they will not agree to spending levels below those set by the debt limit deal that McCarthy and Biden agreed to in May. But some House conservatives say the $1.59 trillion discretionary spending cap that McCarthy agreed to is far too high, and they have called for cutting it by $120 billion, which is a very responsible thing to do because that $1.59 trillion discretionary spending is $1.59 trillion too much. It's too much. It's over budget. That's how much Biden's 2024 budget deficit was. Senator Ron Johnson, an outspoken fiscal conservative who has worked closely with members of the House Freedom Caucus, said, "We're going to try to do everything we can to get real cuts enacted in 2024. One of the reasons the Speaker lost his speakership is they agreed to $1.59 trillion in spending, which is $300 billion more than we spent just for 4 years ago. That's a problem," Johnson said, referring to McCarthy. The situation we're in is a massive failure over decades. $33.5 trillion in debt, he added. Senator Rand Paul is one of the growing number of conservatives in both chambers who say they won't vote for any continuing resolution that merely freezes federal spending levels. That is correct. We need cuts. I can't support spending the same amount of money we're currently spending because that's how we got $33 trillion in debt. We borrowed $1 trillion in the last 3 months. If we keep spending like this, we're going to have $2 trillion annual deficit, he said. Paul said conservatives want Johnson to pass the annual appropriations bill individually to maximize his leverage with Senate Democrats, setting up a prolonged negotiation that could wind up lasting months. There is still a conservative position to be had, and that would be that the Speaker continues to pass individual appropriations bills and that the Speaker insists that they conference on them. They conference on each individual one, he said, explaining that would give the House 12 different points of leverage to reduce spending. And he's totally right. I'm going to stop it there. That's not the end of the story, but he's totally right. They add so much BS to these stupid spending bills, and then they lump them all together and say, hey, vote for this. And it's 6,000 pages of all kinds of different stuff, that different laws, and this gets this and this gets that, and you don't have time to read all of it. 6,000 pages. They give you 72 hours to read all of it. Well, you have staff, but you know how many hours each person would have to sit there and read constantly to be able to do that? There's no way they can do that. So these people just vote for it and have no idea what they're voting for. So it's more likely that the people that you voted to represent you and to, allocate and appropriate all the tax dollars that you pay in are voting to pay for stuff that they have no idea what the hell they're voting to pay for. It's ridiculous. And I was trying not to run too terribly long today, and I hope everybody that is watching the video is still around to hear that rant. And that's all I got for this one, you guys. Like I said, thanks for watching, y'all. I'm trying to cut it and keep it as short as I can, because I know, sometimes people don't like to listen all the way through, and I understand. 20 minutes of me yelling is a lot. But thanks for watching, you guys. Like I said, don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Turn on your notifications. And try to have a good day and be positive. Peace.